This 5-minute moment is brought to you by Power to Reign Ministries, located on USC's campus, Taper Hall, room 102. That's 3501 Truesdale Parkway in Los Angeles, California. We are currently talking about the laws that govern the outpouring. Last time we spoke, we said law number 1 was to expect God's goodness and His power in your circumstance. We saw that Paul did this regardless of what he was in, and we saw that he said, I believe God. I believe God, even though they were still in the hurricane. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and pick up. We're going to go ahead and turn to Acts chapter 28 and see, as a result of what his belief was, what he did. All right, so when you expect God for His goodness and His power, that means that when something else comes, you will not tolerate anything else other than what God said. Acts 28 verse 1, it says, and when they were escaped, then they knew that the island was called Melita, and the barbarous people showed us no little kindness, for they kindled a fire and received us every one because of the present rain and because of the cold. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand, locked itself on his hand. It actually jumped out and aimed for Paul specifically. Now, this isn't what God told Paul. God didn't tell Paul that he was going to be attacked. He told Paul that he had to go before Caesar. All right, so when this happened, verse 4, it said, the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang off his hand and said, no doubt this man is a murderer. He had to have did something to just go through this shipwreck, and now he's being attacked on land as well. Verse 5, he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. Why is that? Because he had to shake it off. He didn't start yelling. He didn't start saying, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. No, he shook it off because he was expecting the goodness of God. He was expecting God to bring forth the calling that was on his life and for him to get to the place that God told him to go. As a result of this, he shook it off. He would not tolerate anything else. And this is one of the things that we said, when you are expecting the goodness of God in your life and the power of God, you will not tolerate anything else. Also, you don't allow what you see to affect your faith in what's not seen. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, and it is the evidence of things not seen. So when he saw that snake hanging off of his hand, did he change his faith? Did he change his expectation? Did he change what he was believing God for? Or did he just shake it off? This year, there's going to be some things that we're going to have to shake off. This year, there's going to be some things that we cannot tolerate in our life. Since we're not tolerating it in our life, that means we're not going to allow it to be prevalent in our life. When we're not tolerating something, that means we're not going to settle for it either. He didn't settle for it, and as a result of him not settling for it, he decided to shake it off. And the people marveled at him. They were looking at him for a long time, because in verse 28, chapter 28, verse 6, it says, howbeit they looked when he should have swollen. He should have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly. Verse 6, but after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said he was a god. You mean to tell me people can change their mind? Yeah, they can. And they were looking at him for a long time, expecting him to go through what he should have went through. The natural occurrence when something that venomous locks onto your hand is you're supposed to die. But he shook it off, and he would not tolerate death because the word of the Lord was, Paul, you must go before Caesar. What's the word of the Lord for you today? What's the word of the Lord for you this year? The word of the Lord for you this year is that there is an outpouring of heaven that's supposed to happen to God's people. With an outpouring of heaven, we're supposed to see a transfer of power. We're supposed to see a transfer of good things to God's people. Now, there's many ways that power, influence, and delegated authority can come to God's people. Those ways we're going to be discussing in this upcoming series, the 5 ways in which authority and power is transferred to God's people. As I stated last time, our base text is going to be the Bible when we talk about power and how it's transferred to His people and then God's people, and then we're also going to be talking from this book as well. But don't worry, when you come to service, you'll get a free copy of this book so you can follow right along with us, and it'll be an easy thing. So now, that's it for now. I'd like to say have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time from Power to Reign Ministries.